Today, in this DIYNate video, we're going to be installing
a
a
Nest learning thermostat. Thanks for following along and enjoy the video.
I've already taken off the old thermostat. Here's the old thermostat that we were looking at right here. Here's the underlying pieces of it. This came out fairly easily. I took a picture of it just as the instructions recommend to make sure I knew where the wires would go. Then you label the wires with these little blue tags that come with your Nest thermostat. So after doing that, I basically am going to put the faceplate on here to cover up some holes in the wall, and you just have 4 wires at this point. We're going to put this last screw in here to make sure we're good to go. They even send a screwdriver with it, not that you probably need a screwdriver, but it's nice that it already comes in the package. I'll make sure it's level and ready to go, and we'll just tighten this in here. And once this is in, we're going to hook these wires into their respective letter code. And most of the time, if you're installing a thermostat, my opinion is with a Nest thermostat, it's okay to do it if you already have an existing thermostat, which you probably do. But if you're doing it from scratch, you probably want to hire somebody professional to do it, or pay very close attention to what you're doing, because doing it, finding the wires that already exist, it's a lot easier than trying to wire an HVAC system by yourself. So from here, we're going to move on to actually hooking up the wires. Okay, so as we start putting the wires in, we're going to actually straighten out the wire. You can see you want the exposed tip to be straight right here. I'm using some needle nose pliers to make this work. It's a little easier to get them in. Once you push the wire in, you can actually see the little lip here depress. It's a little hard to see, but you can see how there's a difference there. You just slide it in and that will automatically depress. It doesn't really tell you that in the instruction manual, so that's why I thought this would be good to include in the video. The other big thing, make sure you've powered down all your fuse box, as well as any other power that you want to turn off. Another good practice is to set your thermostat to off before you take it off. So just a warning so you don't get yourself a big shock. All right, so we're going to try and do this with one hand here, trying to film it, which is a little challenging. We're going to go into the G for green, and we're going to just push it in there. And ideally, you start to see how it comes down. You can see it sliding right in there. And so that's probably good enough there for the green one. We'll pause for a second. All right, now we're ready to slide the W wire in, and hopefully you can see this. And as I slide it in, it pops right in place there. Okay, and crimp it there. And this one is labeled RC, so we need to pull the RC wire over this way. And they recommend in the instructions that you use a pencil to secure the wires so they don't roll back in the wall. I didn't have that problem. These guys have been there a long time, so I didn't have any trouble with that. And so now pretty much all of my wires are in position, and so we're ready for the next stage. Next instruction says to push the wires in so that they're flush with the base. That's because we're going to put the Nest pod on top of it. So you can see here on the back of the Nest little main screen, it's got a place to be inserted right there. I'm just going to take that and push it on. Hopefully it's going to connect nicely. And you just got to make sure it lines up flush. And somehow in there it should click right on. And there we go. So our Nest is ready to go. So now once you push it on, it should connect just like that. Looks pretty good. So when you first push it, you'll notice no power, nothing, because you've turned the power off. That's what's going to supply the power to the Nest thermostat. So we're going to flip our switches back on and see how everything runs. Hopefully, if I've done it right, everything's going to fire back up, and we'll be using our new programmable thermostat. And so as you can see, the Nest is now powering up. So that's a good sign. It's going to give me a couple of instructions to walk through. English, yep, and English again. Internet connection, here we go. Connect the internet for remote control updates, local weather, and local weather. So we're going to do that. We're going to find our specific internet. It's going to ask for our password. I'll pause while I put this into the internet. So we'll get it going here. Pretty simple setup with Nest. I've got one upstairs already, and this is my downstairs Nest thermostat. I finally decided to put one in the downstairs after having one upstairs for about a year and a half. So I'm going to join accounts in a second. One great feature about Nest, you leave the house and you forget to change the temperature. One, it has an away mode, so it knows if you've left. Two, you can actually change the thermostat from a remote location, which is pretty awesome. Single family home. Where's our thermostat? It's in the downstairs. Are you a Nest Pro? I am a homeowner. Equipment detected. Continue. Forced air. I believe that's the answer. Temperature. Should Nest begin by heating? Turn them on manually at any time. Choose your eco temperature. Hopefully we get good there. We'll do a system test. Nest is now configured for your system. Great. Your system is ready to go. You can test it now or test it later from settings. So we'll test now. What do you want to test? Let's do the heating. Now it says, would you like to control this this thermostat with the Nest app? And yes, of course we want to do that. It's half the value of this thing. All right, it gives me an entry key, and so that is something I'll put in just a second here on my phone. I'm not going to record the part on my phone. I'll trust you can handle that yourself, and we'll get finished. Now our thermostat is all set up. I've gone through the programming steps to make sure that I've got the schedule built in my app, and we're ready to go. I've tested it, everything is working, and we're good to go. All right, thanks a lot for watching the DIYNate video. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed it. Thanks a lot. Have a great day.